Nene, you.
You too, bitch.
You. I don't need your
You
comments.
wanna set it
You know what?
straight?
I don't need
Set
your
it straight.
Get your finger out of my face.
You better watch
Get your
yourself.
finger
You
out
better
of my
watch
face.
yourself, trash.
What's up? Okay, so I'm just going to go through some comments from the video I did yesterday. Of course, I love you all so much. I'm so grateful and so thankful for your comments. Some of them I was going to try to respond to just typing it out, but then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be misunderstood, and I feel like maybe I was misunderstanding some of the comments. So I just want to sort of talk these through out of respect for you and me. That my talking it through is probably the best way to address some of these comments. Of course, like I said, I love everyone so much. You know, this is just my opinion and what sort of where I am right now. So please don't take anything too personally, because again, I love you all so much. And these are just, again, my thoughts going back and forth. If you met me in real life, you're, trust me, you'd get even a rather more scathing review. So let's see here. So this was on my video yesterday on Trump. She's saying Trump is a joke after the CPAC speech, yada, yada, yada. You know the story, honey. So, one comment says, dude, people are already going apeshit with the thoughts of the God Emperor returning. This country is fucked in the head. There was a reply to that. Either Trump derangement syndrome or they love him. I'm starting to think that Trump derangement syndrome is, you can have it on both sides. Like, that's not just, TDS is not just for the left, it's also for the right, that they genuinely feel that he's going to solve all their problems or is the cause of all their problems. Either way, you know, they're sort of using, dehumanizing whoever Trump is as a person and projecting sort of everything onto him. That being said, I do feel that Trump was most likely manufactured opposition. I think the data, you know, now 4 years after his original election, I think it definitely supports supports manufactured opposition. But you know, who knows? But yeah, the thoughts of their God Emperor returning. You know, I'm not going to poo-poo anyone. Like, if they think that's their leader and that's who they want to, you know, put all of their effort behind, by all means, it doesn't make a rat's ass difference to me. I'm going in a different direction, and we're going to try to secure something more special, more perfect than that shit show that's all crumbling down anyways. I mean, by 2023, when Pluto moves out of Capricorn, I think we're going to get even a bigger picture of why a more tribal, community-based system is the best thing for our people right now. Anyways, another comment, Stephanie, I turned Trump's speech off. Yeah, like I said, I only listened to a couple minutes of it. It was just like, I don't want to hear this. It sounded, I know I used the term retrograde, but that's the only way I can describe it, other than like, it just seemed like from so long ago, you know? And then I got another comment from Stephanie. I am so sad on your views of Israel, frown face. If you are skeptical of space coverage, also be skeptical of Israel coverage. From someone who's been there, it's nothing like the media portrays. I responded and I was like, what views are you sad about? I'm confused. Because in her comment, being skeptical of Israel coverage, I'm pretty much skeptical of everything. If you haven't noticed, I'm pretty contrarian. And from someone who's been there, it's nothing like the media portrays. I'm confused. The media is owned by people who have dual citizenship to Israel. There's no sort of criticism of Israel, at least in the mainstream media coverage. You maybe will get criticism of Israel in like an Iranian or Russian or Syrian newspaper, but as far as the media portraying Israel in bad light, that, I'm sorry, but that like doesn't exist. You know, like maybe there are other people, you know, who are critical of Israel, but I wouldn't say that the media is critical of Israel. And as far as the whole, like, from someone who's been there, I have many friends who have been to Israel. I have many friends who I've like lived with for years, okay? And in those, interim of living with them, they've gone back and forth to Israel for like huge chunks of time, okay? So I don't know. I don't understand how those two go together. Again, like no disrespect or anything. I just don't know how the media, yeah. So like I said, I thought I was confused on like what she's exactly talking about. She says Stephanie replied to my confusion. You speak about Israel like it has so much power over the U.S. It doesn't. The inhabitable area is smaller. The inhabitable area is smaller than New Jersey. The desert takes up a large portion. You can see the entire country within a few hours. Yeah, I don't think I've ever like described power and size like as if those two go hand in hand. Look at the Vatican. Granted they probably own the most land globally, but there are other sort of countries and power structures where you don't necessarily need a huge country to be more powerful than another, especially in 2021 and modern warfare techniques. I don't think size has anything to do with power per se. Um, the inhabitable area is smaller than New Jersey. Again, it's a very small country that we are unholy. We are in some sort of unholy relationship with. Like my identity as an American. Again, this is more like before 2020 because I don't necessarily even feel American anymore. But why would my identity as an American be like irrevocably tied to a country on the other side of the world? This country on the other side of the world has birthright, so people, individual Hebrews that are spread out all over the globe have a chance, in their youth or at some point in their life, their birthright to travel paid for to their holy land, to their ancestors' quote unquote homeland. Um, like imagine if someone like me thought that like I had a birthright to go visit where, like Azerbaijan, Central Asia. Like I don't know exactly where I'm from quite yet, um, but uh, as far as you speak about Israel, like it has so much power over the U.S., it doesn't. I mean, every tech company is run by a Jewish person. Most of the Manhattan, D.C., and Hollywood literati are all uh, suspiciously, have dual citizenship to this other country. The Kazoo's cabinet, the most of D.C., of course, I'm talking about a political system, is flooded with people from this very, very small country, like you described, just the size of, New Jersey, allegedly. Yet the people who are from this country seem to have a lot of power, not just over the U.S., but of the world. Um, I don't know. And I should say, like, when I'm speaking about, like, Israel, I'm obviously not speaking about, like, the common folk of Israel. I'm speaking more of this Hebrew, Akkadian, Kabbalistic elite, that's not necessarily bordered within Israel. They see themselves as like a global type of empire, but I'm speaking of like this small group of very sick individuals that funnels my tax money to their defense systems. Um, the comment goes on. Without the U.S., it would not exist. It is surrounded by people who hate them. They need to constantly defend themselves. Regular people have safety concerns in their day-to-day lives. I mean, so does everyone else. Like I think that I'm like that applies to me here in America too. Like the U.S. without the U.S. it would not exist. I highly doubt that. I don't think that the Hebrew people really tie their identity to the United States as far as like their existence. Their bloodlines, their ancestors, they go back like thousands of years. And I don't think it's the rather recent country of America as necessitating their existence on this planet. I don't think that. As again, surrounded by people who hate them. I mean, that's like anybody You know, that's why you have to like, make alliances and like work with the people around you. That's like a very common, very common thing. And and Israel has been around now for like almost 100 years, like it's been 80 years now, and they have insane military defense systems. Like just type in the Iron Dome, okay, of one of like multiple huge, very complex, interwoven defense systems. So I don't know why they continually need my tax money to fund these operations. Most of the people going back and forth on birthright, a lot of the Jewish people, you stereotypically meet. Of course, it's not all, but most of them, especially the tech giants who all have dual citizenship to Israel, I'm sure they could shave off a couple of their billions to pay for their homeland country's defense systems. Why the fuck am I paying for that? If you want to defend yourself because you have enemies who hate them, then you need to deal with the fact that you have enemies who hate you. And either fight them yourselves or figure it out yourselves. Like, that's not my fucking problem. And I hate that I was born into a country that, again, is in this unholy relationship with this country that now my whole existence, it seems, is to pay for money to pay and to work so that dollars, are available that can be then sent to Israel so they can defend themselves. Like, I want to defend myself. Like my people, like the people that look like me. Like, I'm a foreigner in my own homeland, okay? Like, I don't have a place to go fuck off to, some like birthright to go fuck off to and be around people who look like me and sound like me and get all this like spirituality from it. I'm sure it's an incredible experience. Like, the people that I know who have gone on birthright or have studied abroad in Israel, like the University of Tel Aviv, they come back and they're just like so fascinated by the culture, by the people, by the music, by the history. I think that's amazing. I'm just saying I want the same thing. I don't think it's a bad thing that they have this. I'm just saying, why am I paying for it? Okay? And again, they can defend themselves by all means without the U.S. help. She says, I can say more, but I'll start there. There's so much more to the history, artwork, old architecture. It isn't evil like the media portrays. Again, the media doesn't portray Israel as evil. Like, what are you talking about? I've never commented on like the history, artwork, or old architecture as being like malevolent. I've never said like, oh, their architecture sucks or their art sucks or their history is shit. Like, what are you talking about? Like, the arguments that I'm making is a tax dollar based argument, not to mention the more philosophical Kabbalistic argument that most likely that these bloodlines, these Hebrew Akkadian bloodlines, are ruling the world. Like, that's like, I don't mean to get snarky here, but like what you're saying, and this is why I felt like I needed to make a video so that I can make myself a little bit clearer, is the common Jewish folk, the common Israeli folk is not who I'm talking about. Like the plebeian cultures and like all over the globe, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the people at the top, of course. Like, I don't give a fuck what the average Israeli person does. A lot of them are very, very wealthy, that can travel back and forth, and that's why I don't understand why me have to pay for this place I'm never going to go to, cannot live in. Why should I pay for their defense? It sounds bad any way you put it. Again, no disrespect. If you want to have a homeland, like, you're going to have to defend it yourself. That's why when I have my homeland and my future generations have our own homeland, I'm going to have to defend it myself. I'm not going to look to some fucking country on the other side of the world and be like, you need to send your tax dollars to us so that I can defend myself. Like, what? Like, it's so wrong. It's so wrong. Again, I don't mean to be like rude or anything like that. I just, like, quite frankly, don't know what you're talking about, because most of the points you've made here, I've never really discussed these points. Again, like, from the size equating power to being, not being able to defend themselves. Again, like, just type in the Iron Dome. You said you've been to Israel. Israel has a hell of a defense system that you can see literally on Google Maps, okay? They don't hide it like they hide the Arctic, all right? And again, as far as the history, artwork, architecture, like, I've never poo-pooed that. Yeah, I'm just going to stop there. Again, it's more sort of off the cuff. I'm just trying to separate, myself, again, it doesn't even really matter, because in that whole American Israeli dichotomy, like I'm trying to like wholeheartedly diverge and detach from it. I like in a lot of cases, like I don't give a fuck if the American tax dollars even go there anymore because I'm trying to again break off and do something different. So, sorry if I make you sad on my views of Israel. I feel like it's very logical as like an average American person to question why my tax money goes to their defense systems when they so clearly have had almost 100 years to really and dangerously defend themselves. Like I know the U.S. probably has equitable defense systems, whether it's satellite based or land based, sea based, like the Navy. But do you think they're ever going to be used for protecting someone like me? No. No, 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 no. In fact, they're most likely going to be used to, and have been used to either, kill other sort of Aryan tribes around the world, or, will eventually be used to kill us in the future. So yeah, that's how I feel about the comments from yesterday. And I love you all so much. Thank you for commenting. Please continue to comment. I love discussing. I love going back and forth. It means so much to me. And I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.